Maxi, it's a great pleasure to be back here in this studio where we filmed an interview 2.5 years ago when you interviewed me, and I thought it was payback time. The occasion is the series of thought leadership pieces that the LCIA is doing this year, triggered by the 125th anniversary of the LCIA. We wanted to do something with you, and I thought it would be fun to use this interview format because of the previous experience, and also because I picked up the other day that you're really very interested in technology, and I was wondering where that came from and if you could explain that a little bit.
Well, well, first of all, let me thank you for including me and inviting me for this initiative. It is an honor to be part of the 125th celebration of the LCIA, which is an important milestone, obviously. So text and video conferencing is something that we see more often in arbitration. Maybe what you're referring to is a recent keynote I gave in Vienna, which was on international arbitration and artificial intelligence. So this is taking technology to the next level and how that will impact on the way we select arbitrators, the way we actually act as arbitrators, whether arbitrators will be helped by the new technology or potentially replaced. So this is, I'm not a tech person, but I think I was interested in these questions because, this is also what I need to do in cases in maybe 20 years' time, or what I need my students to teach, because they're going to be around for even longer in their professional careers.
We'll come back to the teaching in a moment. You obviously have a very solid education. You did degrees in France and Germany. You're admitted in Paris and in England and Wales. You speak several languages fluently, and you have a very interesting career with sort of two streams. You're both a practitioner and an academic. If we start with your current role at WilmerHale, can you tell us a little bit about your practice and your role as a practitioner?
Sure. So currently my practice really involves sitting as an arbitrator. That has not necessarily been like that always. I've obviously represented parties in proceedings before, but about sort of 10 years ago this moved more and more into sitting as an arbitrator, and then now it is actually the main focus of my career. The cases I sit as have a strong focus on energy disputes, and that's across the board. It can be hydro, it can be gas supply, it can be joint venture disputes, energy infrastructure disputes, so any of those different disputes. In terms of regional reach, and that's probably linked with the energy, I have quite a few cases that involve Africa. I have also a couple of cases in sort of the Central Eastern European and former CISC states, and quite a few, I don't think that's necessarily linked to the energy part, but quite a few that involve state or state-owned entity. They're commercial cases, but I have a strong sort of focus on state and state entities.
So that's a very broad range already, and then you also have academic responsibilities. And what I found interesting when I looked at your CV, and have discussed this with you personally, of course, before, you don't just teach, but you're very much involved in the administration of your program as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. I mean, this I think comes just with being on a senior position. It comes with management, you like it or not. So teaching is still, I think, what I consider from my academic perspective, my most important part. I teach various arbitration classes, but one in particular, which is energy arbitration. Because sitting as an arbitrator, I realized how important it is to have certain skills, to have an in-depth knowledge of the industry, and really have a good understanding of technical questions. And so when I joined Queen Mary, I designed, this is like 6 years ago, I designed a new class on energy arbitration, which sort of mirrors these needs. And this class sort of covers broadly commercial arbitration and investor-state arbitration in the energy sector. From the administrative perspective, we have different programs at Queen Mary throughout the board, and so I developed our new programs in Paris. So we have an LLM program in Paris that is with Queen Mary faculty in English, and we now also have a dual LLM program with the Sorbonne, which is both in English and in French. So that requires quite a bit of administration work in addition to the teaching and writing and research, which always comes too late.
And management.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to come back to the diversity of your students and the diversity of your role in a moment. But I'd first like to focus on something quite technical, if you will, because one of the things you have done is to write a book commenting on the LCIA rules. And rather than just discussing rules in general and procedure in general, I'd like to pick up one specific procedural phenomenon and get your views on that.